Hi, and thank you for taking the time to explore different ways that writers can use evidence to advance their arguments. Harris talks about four main moves that writers can make to better use their evidence to support an argument. Three moves have to do with forwarding the texts and the sources that they use to better advance their argument, and our final strategy is for countering another text to advance your own argument. The first move that Harris explores is illustrating. Needless to say, this is the most common move that students will use. Illustrating is when writers would use specific examples from the text to support their own argument. They might use it to define an important concept or to provide greater explanation. Here we have the 18-wheeler showing the cargo, I suppose, that a student might use to advance his or her argument. There are also some examples of the language that students might use. Again, this is just helping students to ground their argument in sources, as opposed to just flying off the cuff or regurgitating other people's ideas. The second move for forwarding would be authorizing. This goes beyond just illustrating in that when writers quote another source, they establish the credibility or the status of the expert. So instead of just saying Joseph Boxbaum, they take it one step further to show that he is a researcher at the Mount Sinai School of Medicine, or Susan Smith, who is the principal of a school which encourages student cell phone use. This step of authorizing also forces students to take a step back and really think about the credibility of the sources that they choose to reference. The third move in forwarding would be extending. This is where writers really can demonstrate their critical thinking. They put their own spin on terms or ideas, or they might choose to refine or recast an idea or a concept. Lastly is countering. This would be when the writers push back against the text. They could disagree with it, they could challenge it, or they may choose to interpret it differently. So Harris likes to explain this as pointing out the limits of a text or the limitations of an argument. Here, the two different opportunities presented are either uncovering values with which a person might disagree or arguing the other side. In order to counter effectively, a writer first must thoughtfully consider what argument is being made. This again is another great example of critical thinking and is so important in providing a counter argument to consider those who may disagree with your claim in order, again, to create greater strength in your argumentation. So this was just a quick overview of the four Harris moves. Please feel free to check out the two handouts for examples and resources that you can use with your students.